What's up, guys? How's it going? MikeTheTech here, and today I'm going to show you how to install Clover, which will let you actually install both Windows and SteamOS on your main hard drive. So if you have that 512 gig or even updated your internal solid-state drive to a larger drive, you can format that, partition it, and have both your SteamOS and Windows drive. And the best thing is you don't have to reformat your SteamOS drive in order to do that. So if you already have a game installed and you don't want to reinstall it, you can simply shrink your drive and install the new Windows OS alongside it. So this is going to be a fun tutorial, and I'm actually going to erase my entire Steam Deck and start it fresh just so I can make this one for you guys. So if you like this one, be sure to click on that sub or thanks button below. Alright, so I've gone ahead and reinstalled Steam, and it is a fresh operating system. Aside from one game automatically installing, Baldur's Gate, everything else is just on my SD card and it's fresh. So I'm going to show you how to install Windows, and actually I'm going to take out the SD card right now. So let me go to Steam, Settings, we're going to scroll down to Storage, and we're going to remove the drive. So now we can see we have an internal drive with 300 gigabytes free. So I'm going to give Windows 150 gigs. We're going to click on the Steam menu, and we're actually going to power off our machine. So we're going to go to Shutdown and Confirm. Now what you're going to need is a USB drive, at least 8 gigs, and you're going to install the SteamOS ISO onto this, because even though SteamOS in desktop mode has the KDE partition manager, which we're going to use, you can't actually edit a partition if you're in and using that partition. So we can't actually log into Steam and just do it there. We need to log into a drive containing the exact same program and use that instead. All right, so to prepare our SteamOS USB drive, we're going to go to this address here. I'll put it in the description. We're going to accept the terms and download the deck image. Once we've done so, we're going to download Rufus, and this will allow us to create a bootable USB drive. So let's go ahead and download the x86 version and open that up. Now Rufus found the device already, so this is the USB drive we'll be using, and then we need to select the actual image. So let's go to select, and you'll see that we have our Steam Deck recovery image right here. Let's go ahead and hit open, and we'll click start. This is going to warn you that it's going to delete everything on the drive. We'll click OK, and we just wait for this process to finish. So I've gone ahead and installed that here, and I'm going to plug it into a dock here, and I am using the UTech Smart Dock here. So I have HDMI, I have power here, I have my mouse, so it's easy to use, and I have my USB thumb drive here with the files and everything, and I just plug that through USB-C into my Steam Deck, and that allows me to connect everything all up at once. And what we're going to do is on the Steam Deck, you're going to hold down the volume down button and then tap the power button. And you're just going to wait for the Steam Deck to turn on while holding down the volume down button. And then once you see that, you're going to go ahead and let go. All right, and once you go ahead and do that, you're going to see that we have SteamOS here, EFI hard drive, and an EFI USB device. We're going to click on that, and it's going to start loading into the USB. And that's going to take some time. All right, so we've gone ahead and loaded into the UI. And what we're going to look for is KDE. So let's go to System and choose KDE Partition Manager. Now we have a partition manager that shows all of the partitions on our drive, and we can see that we have this really large one. This is obviously our SteamOS drive. So what we want to do is we want to shrink this one to make enough space for a new Windows drive. So let's right click on this, and we're going to go to resize/move, and we can actually adjust the bar itself by dragging it. So if I wanted about 150, that should be good. 148,000 megabytes, so 148 gigs for Windows. So let's go ahead and hit OK. Now we have this unallocated 145 gig drive. So we're going to right click on that, and we're going to go to New. For the file system, it doesn't really matter what we choose because we can always adjust this later when we install Windows, but I'm going to go ahead and choose NTFS, and I'm not going to label it. I'm not going to really do anything else. I'm just going to go ahead and set up the drive as NTFS and hit OK. And now that that's done, it's not actually adjusted anything in our drives yet. We actually have to hit Apply for that to take effect because it says 2 pending operations here. So we're going to go ahead and click on Apply. It's going to give you a warning that this is going to permanently change the drive. Let's go ahead and click Apply Pending Operations. And we can wait for this to complete. Once this is complete, you're going to have 2 separate partitions, plus your OS ones, but you're going to have your main Steam OS and then a new 150 gig partition that we can use for Windows later. All right, so this has been successfully completed, and now we have, if we press OK, it's going to scan our drive again, and it's going to say we have, this is our Steam drive, and now we have this separate drive that we can use for whatever we want. So now we need to install Windows. So let's go ahead and close out of this. We're going to go ahead and turn off our device. So go to Shutdown and choose Shutdown. So now we have the same drive. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my computer. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to the Windows 11 download page. And I'm going to choose Create Windows 11 Installation Media because this is going to let us use all of it at once. So let's go ahead and download and run the media creation tool. It's going to say getting a few things ready. We'll hit accept. Now we could leave the default settings here. So let's go ahead and hit next. And we want to choose USB flash drive. So this will detect the drive automatically. We'll see that we have a removable drive here. Let's go ahead and hit next. But you'll notice that the size is way off. If I go in here, it says it's 126 megabytes. Now, why does it say that? Because the drive is formatted as a Linux operating system. So we also need to do some partition work here. Let's go ahead and type in create and format hard disk partitions. Once you've done that, you'll see that if we click on EFI, it actually is disk 3, and there's quite a few other partitions on this disk. We're going to delete this volume. We're going to delete this volume. And you can see that it's automatically adding to this unallocated space. Now we're going to delete this volume over here. And we can delete the main EFI volume. And that should be enough space. So let's go ahead and allocate this by creating a new simple volume. And we're just going to go through and leave all of these as default. So the max size it allows you to. Assign whatever drive letter it gives you, that doesn't matter. We can leave it as FAT32, that'll change shortly, and we'll hit finish. Now it shows that the USB drive has shown up, and yep, we can see there's a new 7.2 gigabyte volume, and in Windows it now shows up as full size. So let's head back to our installer, refresh the drive list, and you'll see that we have new volume here. Let's hit next, and things are going as expected. So let's just wait for this to load. All right, so our flash drive is ready. We're going to go ahead and take it out of. All right, so our flash drive is ready. We're going to go ahead and take it out of our drive. We're going to go ahead and click on the bottom right-hand corner and eject the drive. So it's currently in use. Give it some time, and then you can inject it. Now, we're going to place that drive into our USB hub again, and then we're going to do the same thing as before on the Steam Deck. We're going to hold down the volume down button, and we're going to press the power button, and then we're going to let go of it once it actually turns on. So hopefully it'll show up on the game capture device, and there it is. So we're going to go ahead and choose our USB device, Kingston Traveler, and we're actually loading into Windows right now. One really nice thing is they actually automatically replace the Windows logo with the Steam logo. I thought that was kind of fun. But you're going to run through the installer just like you would on a normal machine until we get to the actual choosing a drive portion. So you're going to go ahead and choose I don't have a product key yet. And fun fact, apparently if you're on a device under like 12, if you're on a smaller screen device, and that includes the 800p screen of the Steam Deck, you don't actually have to purchase a key, but normally just log in with your Microsoft account and you should be good to go. Now we're going to choose which version we want to install. I'm just going to install Home because it doesn't really matter too much to me, but if you need some of these specific features, you can choose that as well. Let's hit next. We're going to accept the agreement and hit next. And now we're going to choose custom installation. Now here we're going to look for our 145 gigabyte drive, which is right here. We're going to click on that. Let's go ahead and format it just to make sure it's nice and fresh. Let's hit OK. Now we're going to choose that and hit next. And now it's installing Windows to that partition. Now, one thing, you will not be able to actually load into this without using the bootloader, holding down the volume down button and turning it on every time. So after this, I'm going to show you how to install Clover so that every time you turn on your Steam Deck, it actually asks you, do you want to start in SteamOS or Windows, it counts down a few seconds, and then it just chooses SteamOS if you don't input something. If you do input something, then you can move back and forth, and you can even theme it. It's pretty cool. So I'll show you how to do that once this is complete. All right, so it's restarting, and it's getting the devices ready. This is installing all the default drivers and such. All right, so we are logged into the actual Windows OS now. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Next. We see that we have a US keyboard. That's fine. No, I don't want to add a second layout. Connect to a network. Alternatively, if your USB hub has an Ethernet port, you can just plug it in directly and you won't have to type it in at all. So we're continuing with the installation. Let's go ahead and skip this for now. We'll continue. Now, one of the easiest ways to actually use typing in this is to just tap your screen, and it will bring up the Windows keyboard, which is actually pretty good. So if you just tap here on the screen, it brings that up, and even if you're using a mouse, you can go ahead and click on what you need to do, and it'll start adding your Microsoft account. Let's go ahead and click Next. We can create a PIN. This will make it a lot easier. You can choose your privacy settings. We're going to skip our customization. We're going to skip connecting to our phone, though that might actually be a nice feature if you just have your phone in your pocket, you're playing it on your Steam Deck, and you can use some phone features like texting right there. So that might be a nice one. So now the actual Windows experience is getting started, and once it's done, we're going to load right into our desktop. All right, so we are logged into Windows, and everything is going to work just like we would expect it to. You can go into all the menus. You can go to the Steam website and install the drivers that you might need to do. But I'll make a separate video on that. What I want to show you is how to actually install the dual boot menu. So first, I'll show you how to actually boot the normal way. So let's go ahead and shut this down. Power and shut down. And at this point, we can remove the thumb drive. We don't need that anymore. Windows is now on our Steam Deck along with SteamOS. And what you want to do is boot into the boot menu. So hold down the volume down button and press the power button and keep holding the volume down button. And you'll see here we have Windows Boot Manager or SteamOS. We're going to go to SteamOS this time. And if you're okay with that kind of switching, just holding the volume down button and pressing power and choosing your operating system, you're good to go. But I'm going to show you how to install a bootloader so that you can have a visual user interface whenever you turn on your Steam Deck. So let's go to the Steam menu. We're going to go to Power, and we're going to go to Switch to Desktop. All right, and we're in desktop mode. So now what we want to do is go to Firefox. If you haven't installed Firefox yet, it'll prompt you to install it. And the reason we're installing Firefox instead of just doing the console commands directly, while we can do that, is because it's much easier to copy and paste. And this is a very direct way to copy and paste all the commands you're going to need to use during this process. So now that it's installed, we're going to launch it. And we're going to use the keyboard to type in Clover Steam Deck. So we're going to go to the Steam Deck Clover GitHub, and you can see, make sure it's the same author here. And we're going to scroll down, and you're going to see that we actually have all of the code we need to run here. So what we need to do is go into our application launcher, go to System, and go to Console. We're going to copy this first command, which isn't super necessary because that's where we're starting, but let's go ahead and paste that here. Now we're going to git clone, and we're going to copy this entire command here. So copy, and we can paste here. And a fun fact, you can actually hit the A button to submit this, and you'll see that it starts going through the process and it downloads. Thankfully, we got no errors. So we can go into that folder. So we can copy this first line here, paste it in, and hit A. And we're in that folder now. You can see it in the console here. And now we want to set the security for the install script. So we'll paste this here and press A. And then we want to run the install script. So let's highlight this last one, copy, we'll paste it here, and install. So we need to set a password. So let's open up our keyboard. And we just need a very simple password for now. All right, so I've gone ahead and updated the password. So let's paste this in again, and we can enter our password. And now you can choose your default operating system. So if we want SteamOS to load up first, we can choose SteamOS. Otherwise, we can choose Windows. I'm going to choose SteamOS so that it feels like a normal experience every time I turn it on. And we'll press OK. We can see that the installation is started, and everything should be good to go. Now let's try it out. Let's go ahead and shut down our Steam Deck. So I'll go to Shutdown, and we'll shut down completely. Now, without holding the volume down button, we could just turn on our Steam Deck, and we're in a bootloader. We can go left or right with the D-pad to choose which one we want to load, and we can even customize this. So if we go to options and press A, we can choose all kinds of really cool features, including the theme here. So if we go to GUI tuning, for example, we can go to themes and choose which theme we'd like to use. And they all look pretty cool, but for example, there's a fun one. We can even choose Rick and Morty and head back, and you'll see it switches to Rick and Morty. Pretty cool system. And then once you choose what you want to load into, so I could choose SteamOS or Windows. If I choose SteamOS, it's going to load in just like normal. But yeah, that's it for this one. A little bit long, a little bit convoluted, but I hope I got everything. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.
It's MikeTheTech, MikeTheTech, the architect, MikeTheTech, yeah, MikeTheTech, the architect,